We're hearing from a lot of Trump voters who are saying, wait a minute, I didn't vote for this. And we're seeing a lot of Americans who didn't vote saying, what is happening? A lot of people are looking at Trump's moves with either disgust, disdain, or utter confusion. I mean, you have him rescinding executive orders issued by President Biden to lower prescription drug costs for people on Medicare and Medicaid. And then recipients are saying, wait a minute, is this going to impact me? Donald Trump said he was going to help me. We've got people who voted for Trump, who worked in the federal government or had jobs in the federal government, who are now being frozen out based on the job freezes across all of these agencies. We're seeing some veterans who voted for Donald Trump, and they're learning that VA services are likely going to be cut. We see Latino voters for Trump who said, oh, he's just coming for the terrorists. That's it. Just the terrorists, not coming for my family. And we're now learning that they're going to be raids on churches and schools, and worksite raids are happening again. While all of this is happening, Donald Trump's just chilling with the broligarchs, the billionaire boy club. Put him in the front row. What a weird scene that was at the inauguration. Then he brought more into the Oval Office. You've got broligarchs fighting with each other. Elon Musk is fighting with Sam Altman for Trump's affection. The whole thing is very, very strange. I want to bring in Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin. She beat a broligarch in her Senate race, Mr. Hovde. So you know that type, as Vice President Kamala Harris would say. What do you make of all of these moves, and are your constituents just flabbergasted? Like what's going on here?
Absolutely. The phones are ringing off the hook. I mean, it's incredible. People just aghast at some of what they've seen in the first few days of this administration. You know, I was at the inauguration and I saw up close that row of billionaires. They were in front of his of Trump's cabinet nominees. I mean, that's how important it was for him to show his billionaire backers. You know, he ran on lowering costs for hardworking families. He ran on things that people are looking to him to deliver. And I think the image at that inauguration of him putting billionaires up there, it shows who he's going to be beholden to, who he's going to be fighting for, especially when it comes to tax legislation. He's going to give trillions of dollars of new tax breaks to billionaires. And how are they going to pay for that? Well, it's going to be at the expense of hardworking Wisconsinites and people across this country. And they're pretty concerned about that. And that's just the inauguration speech that didn't focus on real hardworking Americans. Then you take the pardons, the executive orders, the nominees that he's put forward, and people are very concerned.
You know, I've been referring to him as a WMD, a weapon of mass distraction. And, you know, he's doing what he did before. He tries to throw all of these shiny objects, Greenland this, and I want $1 trillion from this, and 18, just throwing up kind of numbers.
Right.
Are people falling for it this time, Senator, or are people saying, whoa, 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 whoa? You were talking about inflation, prices. We ain't falling for it this time.
Right. So you talked about bright, shiny objects. And, his advisor, Steve Miller, he said, we're going to just flood the zone, basically. So much out there that it's distraction, as you say. But we have to keep our eye on the things that really matter. And part of that will be standing up to some of the worst of the nominees that he's put forward to run vital, important federal agencies. And also, we want to make sure that hardworking Americans have champions in the Senate standing up for them every day. And when there are areas where we can agree, we're going to work together. But when there are nominees or policies that are going to harm Wisconsinites, I am going to stand up and fight on their behalf.
Let's talk about some of these nominees. It
Yeah.
feels, at least to me from the outside, that there's been a bit of a lull. We saw some of them last week, and I'm just wondering, when are these other ones happening? Are they happening soon? The one that I'm interested in them all. Interested may not be the word, but the one that poses perhaps this existential date. Well, they all do. RFK is my point. What's going on with RFK Jr.? When is his happening? Have you had the opportunity to speak with him at all before? How do you see that going down? Because what his views are, especially as we're dealing with an avian flu and other things, like this isn't a joke. We're talking about people's lives here. Right.
Well, his disdain for science and his, he selects, the study that backs up his conspiracy theory and ignores the hundreds of others, right? And I did get a chance to meet with RFK Jr. And that meeting did nothing to allay my concerns about his grasp of, his assertions that vaccines are shouldn't be given because he said, and I quote, "There is no vaccine that is safe and effective." Well, we're in a generation that doesn't remember children becoming paralyzed because of polio. We don't remember loved ones dying because of mumps or measles or long-term hospitalizations. But that wasn't so long ago, and vaccines changed all that. And I think about his assertion, RFK Jr. saying that he was going to fire 600 scientists who are working to find cures to diseases like cancer, over at NIH. I mean, that's just wrong, his approach. And so I think he's dangerous. I said at the outset that I would give all of Trump's nominees a fair shake. But he did nothing to ease my concerns about his long list of conspiracy theories. And so he will get a hearing in both the Finance Committee and the Help Committee. I sit on the Help Committee, so I'll get a chance to ask some more questions. And then, they'll take him up on the floor after that. But it is a big concern if you think about the far reaches of the Health and Human Services. And the other thing is, while he purports to know a lot about health through his conspiracy theories and his cynicism about vaccines, but he knows very little about the other reaches of the agency. It's Health and Human Services. And that includes childcare programs, that includes Head Start, that includes unaccompanied children who come across the border and their care and placement.
And here's the thing too, whether you're in a red state or a blue state, whether you're a Republican who voted for Trump living in Wisconsin or a Democrat in Wisconsin, this stuff hurts your life. Not the deranged conspiracies that are being spewed on Trump's social media company or Donald Trump selling meme coins, although if he hoodwinked his supporters into buying meme coins at the peak, it's not doing that well right now. And how shameful and weird is that the guy's selling meme coins from the Oval Office? But we'll leave that for another discussion. But this is impacting everybody. In fact, isn't it hurting your colleagues who represent, red states just as bad, if not even worse? And then they're out here threatening us in California to cut the whole thing. Look, the Senate's a collegial body by and large. It's known for that. what's going on? I mean, what do your colleagues who are Republican, do they know this is hurting their states, but they're afraid? Like, just what's going on?
Yeah, well, with RFK Jr., I have heard some of my Republican colleagues voice concerns about him and how he would perform as Secretary of Health and Human Services. And I haven't heard back since they've had the chance to have their one-on-one meetings with him. But, you know, our colleagues, I think, do understand that this job has huge ramifications for all sorts of things. You know, we have right now an avian flu outbreak that is affecting not just chickens and other birds, but it's affecting dairy cattle, and there have been some cases of transmission to humans. And so we need somebody in that post who is, who's on the ball and helping keep people safe. That's the key. That's the key mission. People healthy and safe. So anyways, I have heard a little bit of doubt. I hope that we can defeat his nomination.
You know, finally, one of the things that Trump promised in 24 hours was peace in Ukraine. He said he got a great plan. He said he can't reveal the plan, but we would find out in the first 24 hours. He did say after the election, but I shouldn't give him the benefit of the doubt, but I did and said, okay, he meant after the inauguration. So then he doesn't really say anything. Then he says that actually he thinks Xi Jinping should be the person to lead negotiations, which was very odd to say the least. And then he goes on social media, I guess, unveils his plan, which is a social media post with all caps, and it's like, Putin, I'm going to do you a favor, Putin. We are going to impose tariffs on you if you don't do the right thing here, Putin. And then he gave us a weird revisionist kind of history that ignores the entire Cold War. But there's sanctions. There's no trade, so there's no tariffs. He doesn't even know what tariffs are. And then today, just before our interview, he was asked, do you think by next year, a year now, there will be a peace agreement with Ukraine and Russia? And now his response is, you're going to have to ask Russia. No. I'm asking you, Mr. President. You were the one who said that you had this figured out. I want to get your reaction to this. And then finally, just on all of these promises, did you think on right away he would just break them like boom, day one, and just admit to everyone it was all a fraud? Or do you think he was going to drip it out a little bit?
Well, I think that is why they're using this flood the field, flood the zone strategy, is to distract from those very things. He did promise a lot. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he says, I've kept all my promises. But, it's really important that we refocus our attention on fighting for hardworking families across this country. That's what people voted for. They voted for groceries they could afford, childcare that they could afford, housing that they could afford. That's the real struggle, and we need to bring the focus back. And we need to hold him to account when he fights harder for the billionaires than he does for hardworking families.
All right, Senator Tammy Baldwin, glad you were reelected. We need you on the front lines.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers by the end of the month. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.